There we go. Hey, all right. A little chill. I guess I started a little early. Normally we start at 9:30 and everything starts at 9:35. Oh well, whatever. The streams are all starting to blend in my head. It's all good. We'll be here a little early for those that show up a little early. Oh wait, did I fix the connection? Let's see, we'll go here. Yeah, did not. Twitch did better. There we go. How are you guys doing? Early morning, everybody's chilling?
That early morning for us.
Oh, that's right. I keep forgetting. I was up really late because the little one woke up not feeling great in the middle of the night, and then I'm the one that gets woken up, and then have to put her back, and just...
Isn't that what crate training is for?
Crate training.
Oh, you're not supposed to do that with children. Just dogs. Got it.
Crate training. I mean, oh, gosh, that's terrible. We are well out of that phase, thank goodness. I'm laughing because I've been around some friends and things that still have kids in that age where they're like, hey, we're still training our kid how to sleep, and I'm like, yeah, no, no desire to go back to that point, because what that really means is you're not getting any sleep.
Yeah,
it's terrible.
Never understood it. I'm glad there are people that can do it, because otherwise the human race would die out, but I don't get it.
Yeah, no, I don't recommend it. It's not a fun pastime, but once you get past that part, it gets better. Let's see, I should close a bunch of these windows, make sure they don't get mixed up in all this. All right, we'll give it a few more minutes like we always do. 4:28, good, I wrote the right date down. Start around 9:35, give time for, usually we're waiting for Jacob. Hopefully he shows up. That's the long-standing thing. Since you guys are here early, you get to vote. Do we do triage of the oldest issues first or the newest issues first?
Oh, man. Newest first, because otherwise I have to reorder my tabs.
All right, you spoke first.
Okay. There's only 8 total, so I think we're good.
Yeah, hopefully. 8 total. I'm getting rid of one here. Actually, this one should go away. Should not still be tagged triage. Why is it still here?
Just because I got rid of it.
I know, it's just not refreshing. There you go. Oh, now it says 8. That? What? All right, whatever. Whatever. Depends on which ones are more controversial. Not fair. Bob doesn't have a 10-second delay on his response. You know, Zach, that is totally true. Sorry. come on out and write significant amounts of code, and you can end up on this side of the 10-second delay.
With all the benefits. Oh, right.
Yeah. You will get, what am I up to, 1,000% increase in your salary?
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
I hand that out like it's candy.
Yeah.
You know, because
it helps that
multiples of 0, baby. Lots and lots of it.
Yep.
Did that to my son
years,
one time.
Man. I haven't even. I get these annual cost of living increases in my WiX salary for 17 years. It really adds up to 0, but it adds up.
Yeah, I did that to my son one time, and he was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Wait." It's like, oh, tricky. I get points every once in a while. It's getting harder and harder though as it gets older. The little one I can still get to laugh pretty easy, but the older one gets harder and harder. I have to be genuinely funny to get my son to laugh. And you know, dad jokes only take you so far. Although, I have this one dad joke here. I'm going to do this just before the meeting starts, that he thinks is great. Now, he's 10, so that helps some, but the joke is, the best present I got this year was a broken drum. You can't beat that. I need a rim shot. Gosh, I need to have the button. I push it and get a rim shot, and there we go. So
yeah, every streamer has a button on their stream deck that does that, even when it's not deserved.
There are tutorials on how to set up soundboards and all that kind of stuff. Yes.
Oh, I'm sure.
Hey, we have a run. That's great. Wait, no. You don't need a drum head for a rim shot. You just do you? I thought you just hit the edge. I guess you do hit the drum a little bit to get the sound right. Yeah, fair enough. All right, we're at 9:35. I think it's time for us to go ahead and run.
We could break down your jokes some more.
I should what?
We could break down your jokes some more.
Oh yeah, we should definitely do that.
Because that's going to make it funny.
Hey, like I said, I got my son to laugh with that one. I saved that one. That went into the save pile. Hey, I got us a minute worth of discussion right here. Let's go ahead and kick this thing off. I have to remember the intro. If I get the intro wrong, I end up in a completely different stream. That would be weird. All right, here we go. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is the WiX Online Meeting 234. We're at the end of April. Time is flying, and I don't have anything else to say about it but that. As always, these meetings are recorded for those of you that aren't with us right here, right now. Although if you're in chat, it's great to have you here with us, even if you are dealing with the 10-second delay. Sorry, Zach. All right, what are we doing today? We're doing what we're always been doing lately. We're doing triage. And if you haven't said hi, go ahead and say hi. Zach, Blair, Ron, great to have you with us, guys. Yeah, we'll do triage, and then we'll take any questions and things like that people want to talk about. And we are still digging out of a bit of a backlog of issues that were not filed. So let's go ahead and jump into the new issues, and then we'll jump in and dig through some of that backlog. Bob, are you ready?
I am. Let's go.
Alrighty. Top issue 6765. Remove the 160 character limit for custom action entry points. So I love this. Like, we put our 60 in there just as a random. This limit is actually imposed because of the way that the DLL has to call into the other entry points, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean,
it's weird, and there's not a lot of, like, why did we do it this way? But I remember all the 160 was like a random amount of space that wouldn't unnecessarily bloat the native DLL, as I recall.
Yeah, and there's like a limit of 256 or 255 or something like that. There's two limits. There's this one multiplied by the other one, and that's how much space we have to work with right now. So there's the feature request. I think we should toss it into, they can go into 4X if they want to go dig into it. They're welcome to go diagnose all the pieces and see what the right, what's the next level set of things for us to expand those pages to, or for them to, because I'm not going to do it.
Yeah, I'm okay with taking it. It's one of those. I
Yeah, if someone
agree
wants
with
to
you.
do
I
it.
think there's still an upper limit, and it's not that far away. It's not like we can make it unlimited.
I don't think so. I think it's gonna end up being a page. I think it has to be pre-built. So
Yeah,
anyway,
yeah.
yeah. So it's not arbitrary. I mean, it's arbitrary that it was picked, and now it's, you know, if you want to go over that, you have to redesign the thing to handle more. Pretty straightforward. Set MSI package visible when permanent equals yes. Right. I think, yeah, okay. I accidentally opened this when I was running as WiXBot. I think this came from our conversation last time about bundle package, visible permanent behaviors, rather, being visible when you set it permanent, and that MSI should do the same. So I already gave this to me. I don't. Does anybody disagree? I think we all agreed.
I think we all agreed.
Okay.
I think so.
This doesn't need triage. It just needs to go into the compiler, and we'll carry on. Harvesting non-compressed bundle packages should probably add payloads. 6757. Sean.
So it looked like you guys went through a lot of different iterations when creating the original MSI package. And you guys went from harvesting nothing to eventually harvesting everything in the MSI. And then bundles have pretty much the same concepts as MSI because they have containers, they have payloads, you know, like cabs and file table in MSI. So we need to figure out what we want to harvest for bundles.
Yeah, that's an interesting question because I don't think bundles should. All right, let's step back. MSIs we need to harvest because MSIs can get into source prompt issues, and so the goal was the package cache would remove all cases where those would required, as long as the package cache was handled correctly. So we would gather all the files that the Windows installer could need and cache them with the bundle to protect the Windows installer from itself. Bundles, on the other hand, cache their own things. So if we cached a child bundle's content, then you'd get that all in a folder, and then that child bundle presumably would install, and it would cache all of its stuff again in the package cache. But if you cache the package and you don't install it the first time, then when you try to install it later, it's going to be missing things. And it's going to need a source prompt or the ability to find all its content. Yeah. It's tricky. I mean, it could, if we cache, I mean, it essentially would be caching the bundle twice because it was nested, which is not ideal.
But the bundle might not be keeping its cache. So there's a lot of different.
But if it doesn't keep its
variations
cache, then, I mean, presumably it's going to have to, yeah, because, right, the problem is going to be when it says, hey, I need these files, it's not going to have the ability to ask for them if it is nested inside another bundle. I'm trying to think of what's the least surprise.
It probably should be an option.
Yeah, if we do it, it probably should be an option.
Like you can harvest nothing, you can harvest everything, and then probably a middle of the road, like everything that doesn't have a download URL or something like that.
Oh my goodness. so many options. Yeah, everything that doesn't have a download URL is also interesting.
Or I guess I wrote this up as everything that's not compressed would be another option.
Is it really a parent bundle problem? Yeah, Jacob, we have to decide if the parent bundle copies the full content of the child bundle to the package cache. Do we also have a problem where if external payloads are required, if a child bundle has other files, external containers or external files, and is nested in a parent bundle, when the parent bundle runs, it's going to first cache the child bundle, right? And then
Right.
launch it from the package cache to make sure it can't be modified while we're launching the process. If those loose files are not next to the bundle in that case, isn't the bundle going to be very confused? It's going to be like, hey, the child bundle's going to be like, hey, where's my stuff? It should be right next to me.
Yeah, that's what I meant by non-compressed external.
Well, but there's a mix of, because you can still have files that are arbitrarily laid out,
Yeah.
arbitrary payloads, right?
That too.
Then there's the package payloads.
And then there are those that could be downloaded.
So you guys are talking about the layout-only payloads?
Well, both. The layout-only payloads, I think, have to be harvested because, as Rob points out, if you have a dependency on a DLL and that dependency is not to be found, then that could be bad.
No,
I mean, it's not gonna-
layout only payloads are actually the ones that are only used when you do a layout switch.
Okay.
There are also loose payloads, external
Oh.
payloads. There's external payloads which are expected to be used by the bundle during installation. There are layout only payloads that are also loose and only used during layout.
I thought we got rid of those.
Layout only?
Yeah.
Da.
No?
I
Okay.
don't think so.
Sean says
But-
no. That's good enough.
But the
Yeah.
loose external files, those would only be associated with packages. There's not a bundle level concept of a loose payload.
Oh. That's interesting. I thought you could still do that. Just have arbitrary payloads. But I guess I'm thinking of arbitrary UX payloads, which are always in a container.
Yeah, that's different.
That's interesting then.
I think we have to cache them, at least for the install.
But I agree it needs to be an option because just because something has a download URL doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be used. I mean, we author download URLs for, the .NET Framework redistributable package groups. We should probably, we don't want to break someone who expects to be able to do an offline install.
Yeah, but that's a perfect case to think about. If there are many bundles out there that depend on .NET Framework, and you end up nesting them in a parent package, each of the child bundles will get a copy of the .NET Framework installation source media, if they carried it with them.
Yeah.
So you end up with the .NET Framework in the package cache many times.
Yeah, but if they use, but if it's an exe, if it's an exe package rather than an exe package with a remote payload, it would be cached. The cache would be satisfied because we're going to cache only once, assuming it's the same version of the redistributable.
But not when the parent bundle is doing the caching.
Well, sorry, it would carry the payload. It wouldn't recache it if it were already present. The first one would cache it for the rest of them. But all of them would have to carry it.
No. So if you have a parent bundle that refers to a child bundle, and that child bundle says one of its payloads is the .NET Framework,
Yeah.
when the parent bundle is caching the child bundle, it doesn't know that the .NET Framework is the thing that's being cached. It's just like, I have to cache the whole child bundle. So it takes the whole child bundle, including .NET Framework and anything else, and caches it. And then we'll run it from that cache.
Sorry, in my head, we're caching packages normally. Now I'm confused about how you would cache the bundles packages.
It's just another payload of the bundle.
It's a payload
package.
of the bundle.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
The fact that it's a .NET Framework is
No,
unknown by the parent.
I was assuming that it would be cached like any other package, without it being a child of a bundle embedded in another bundle. In that case, it would be the hash of the package, or however we cache a package that's Authenticode verified. But if it's just like I don't know how today the bundles payloads are cached. Are they literally cached as child directories of the bundle in the cache?
Well, that's what I was trying to say. There are no payloads at the bundle level. So, but what we're talking about here is that this is a package of a bundle. So when that parent bundle is installing any of its packages, it's going to cache every payload for that package in the package cache before it runs it.
Right. And so I'm back to the question of, if we're caching identical payloads, why wouldn't the first one cached satisfy the caching requirements of every other? In other words, okay, ignore the child parent bundle question, because that's where I'm coming from. You have two bundles, both of them install .NET 4.8 full redist. The first bundle that installs will cache the 4.8 redist. The second bundle that installs will not, because it will say, oh, that cache request is already satisfied.
Those two packages would have to have identical cache IDs.
Correct.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
And this scenario
they're
works
identical.
fine. This scenario works fine. Everything works fine in this scenario.
Okay. So now I'm back to the question, when you have a nested bundle and we've harvested its packages, and maybe now I'm at the point where we just haven't done this yet.
So,
How are the bundles packages? I guess the question is, how are the nested bundles packages embedded, and then how are they cached?
So it's like any other package type where that bundle package gets its own cache ID. So every payload that we harvest, that payload's can be part of that cache ID for that specific child bundle.
Okay, so they are literally, again, subdirectories of the nested bundles cache directory?
No, it wouldn't be nested directories. It would just have one folder.
They're rooted under the nested bundle.
Yeah, the nested bundles cache ID.
Okay, got it.
Package
Thank you.
cache ID.
Well, so going back to last meeting, where we kind of concluded that the most common use case for a nested bundle is redists. Redists aren't generally going to have a lot of dependencies embedded in them, other than their own. They're not generally going to include other big dependencies.
Right. So the problem is, let's say you have a parent bundle that is nothing more than carrying a bunch of child bundles. It's just a wrapper for whatever reason. All right. Just for experiment or first case. And child A and child B both need the VC redist. Like they both have dependence on the VC redist. So they both install the VC redist, right, as part of their bundles. So A and B can be installed independently. When they install, one copy of the VC redist ends up in the package cache because they're sharing the same cache ID. And everything works as we know it today. All right.
Yep.
Now, when we bring this parent in and it brings the two of them in, when the parent runs, it looks at cache A, it looks at package A and it goes, cool, I need to take all of your stuff and cache it. And it does so. So VC Redis gets copied into package A's cache.
Yep.
And then it looks at B and it goes, oh, I need to cache all your stuff. So it picks up package B and all of its stuff ends up in cache B directory, and VC Redis is duplicated again.
Yep.
And then the install of A happens and VC Redis gets cached itself.
Mm-hmm.
So now you have 2 full copies of VC Redis and the bundle plus all its packages exploded in the package cache. And then bundle B runs, it skips the VC Redis because, hey, A just did it for it, and then it finishes stuff.
Yep.
So the problem, the issue that we're looking at is that VC Redis is duplicated both with A and B wastefully.
Okay. Okay, what do you want? I mean,
Yeah, I'm trying to come up with if there's anything better, and I don't disagree. I'm just trying to figure out, is there a better way? Is there another way out?
Sure. You do what I thought it did, which is to cache the packages independently of their status as a member of a nested bundle.
Yeah, the problem is that there's a lot of variables in that, and package A and package B would have to know, oh, by the way, your thing wasn't cached next to you anymore. It's actually over here. So where package A thought it was in the Redists folder, and package B thought it was in the packages nested, package A, exe, Redist folder, VC Redist, and packages B has a foo folder with Redists, VC Redis in it. When they get cached into those appropriate nested directories because that's where the bundle's going to expect to find them. If we were to play games with that, we end up having to understand a whole lot about the internal workings of their bundles to essentially rewrite their world. And I mean,
I thought Bob was talking about putting it in the package cache for those bundles.
Yeah, but so if we put it in the package cache but we'd have to essentially install it.
No, we'd have to cache it, which we're already doing for the bundle.
Yeah.
We're not.
I'm not saying this is easy or
yeah. No, yeah.
You know,
yeah. I say,
the safest thing is to duplicate. I mean, that's absolutely the safest thing to do.
Yep.
If I would have to really sit down and look at scenarios to see if I'm as concerned as you seem to be about the moving the stuff around. I mean, really, packages should not be concerned about anything other than their own cache directory and anything in it. So I'm not entirely sure that I care about changing expectations about that.
Yeah.
But again, I'd really have to sit down and think about it because this could absolutely blow up. So I'm perfectly comfortable saying that this is something we should look at, in a 4X or a V5, and say for 4.0 it might be wasteful. That's okay.
I think the problem with trying to cache it for them in the package cache location is I don't think we're correctly reference counting caching today. So we would get into problems where bundles would start deleting packages from the package cache, even though other bundles depend on them.
No, you're right. We could because the only reference count is on the actual installed package. So if a bundle carried the Redist, and then I guess this would be tricky.
I think what this says is that child bundles have to be designed to be carried in the parent to be efficient.
To be efficient, sure.
I mean, you can be wasteful, of course, and you'll end up with lots of duplication all over the place and things like that. But to really...
Well, potentially. Some.
But... And most Redists are going to be okay. Yeah. Okay. I think the answer is we have to copy these files. Otherwise, the bundle install will fail because it's going to expect files to be cached expect its files to be there. They're not going to be there, and it will fail when being run out of the package cache by the parent. So we have to copy them, otherwise things will be broken. Even though that copy is potentially very wasteful if you do very simplistic, just nest one bundle and another bundle without thinking through all the implications of the sharing that's going to happen there, or the duplication that will happen there.
So we're talking about all loose files and all payloads?
All external payloads.
External payloads.
I think that's it. And containers, as much as they're used.
That makes sense.
And should we provide an option so they can opt out? Like if they have download URLs on everything.
Oh. Download URLs are interesting. That's the option, I think. Do you want us to cache this if there's a download URL? Is it an error? It's actually, it kind of goes, is it an error if it can't find a file, an external file, and it has a download URL? I don't feel like I said that well. If it's an external file, it has to be present unless it has a download URL. Then do we want to... We could make that a warning. You could suppress the warning, or we could have a switch that says allow that scenario. Right?
I think I prefer the idea of a warning there. I think I prefer warning because it's
I think
because that's your control, right?
Yeah.
Your control is you could say you want to nest this bundle, you could give it, a CD image that contains everything, but if you don't and you just want to be able to download it, you just give it the naked payloadless bundle.
The problem with the use of download, the problem with a warning is that suppressing a warning suppresses a warning for all packages. So if you wanted to ignore it on one package but not another, and you wanted to catch the errors on the second one but not the first one, that's where the warning is not quite sufficient.
Yeah, we should probably fix that. Okay, yeah, then I guess an attribute. Yeah, I mean we should, right? That's
the pragma suppress.
ICEs.
You mean pragma suppress kind of thing?
Pragma suppress, yeah.
It would be cool. We're going to have to get more and more deeper into the line numbering of WiX, which we don't do enough with today. So, yeah, I hear you.
True. That's true.
So is it a separate attribute to say allow external payloads with allow missing external payloads with download URL? Right? I think that
now
captures
you see
it.
why I was looking for a warning. That's just a 4-digit number.
I was more hoping for a harvesting type attribute where you say default or nothing, everything.
Or allow if it has a download URL. Allow missing if download URL. It's essentially what it comes down to.
Allow missing external payloads.
There's a better way of saying it. That's just the way
With
my brain
download
is.
URLs.
That's just the way my brain is processed it right now. But that's what it is. The external payloads can be missing if they have a download URL. That's the dial.
Yeah. Yeah, I like the idea of
Oh, so you're talking
Yeah.
about harvesting based on what's actually on the file system.
Well, the
I
parent
wasn't-
bundle's going to need
No.
the parent bundle needs the child file. It needs to know what the child files are.
But like if all the files have download your you could do it by looking at the manifest. That's how this is going to work. It's going to look at the manifest and then add payloads based on what's on the manifest.
unless it embeds them in itself. or it's putting it in a container. I mean, the parent bundle could be reorganizing how all that's getting laid out. No, the parent bundle's got to move all the files into the right shape.
Yeah, but I originally had no intention of looking at what actually exists on the file system at build time to depend on what's put into the bundle.
But it has to, because it could end up inside the bundle.
No, but like today, if you harvest an MSI package and loose files are missing, you get a bind time error that files are missing.
Right.
So that's what I thought was going to happen here. The harvesting would inspect the manifest and add payloads based on what's in the manifest. And then later, when binding tries to put the files in the bundle, if it's missing, then bind time will fail like that.
Oh, I see. So you want to say ignore files with download URLs.
Yeah. Like harvesting is separate from the binding.
No, harvesting is a part of binding.
No, because we allow remote bundle packages.
Yeah,
so
there's
harvesting
that.
can be done.
That there's definitely that, but the one it has to end up inside. There are cases where it ends up inside the binding too, so it is part of binding as well. And the option here is to.
I don't understand that part.
Well, it feeds into binding.
I moved it out.
Yes, but
How does MSI package do that?
Yeah. The files end up based on what the parent bundle authored, the files can end up inside the bundle.
The bundle.
The parent bundle being built.
So as a payload of the package?
As a payload of the parent bundle. The parent bundle could say, I'm going to compress everything inside of me. So it could point at a bunch of external child bundles that are all loose payloads, like they're all flat, with the idea that then there is a parent that sucks all of them up and puts them all into one big or small, however large, single file XE bundle. So the fact that we read a bundle and go, hey, we have found you. You have these 10 files on disk. Here's package B. You have 2 files. Package C, you only have your 1 file. Great. I'm going to need whatever the math was on those numbers to be all sucked up into the final bundle. Right? Like we have to be able to know if we're going to find the files. So you could say ignore files with download URLs. Those then during that process would say, okay, this has download URL. I'm not going to include it as a file that's being included for binding. We definitely could do it that way. I was operating on if the file's not on disk, allow it to not be in download URL. But those are 2 different dials we should definitely choose which we pick. But they're both, at the end, we're going to need those external files sometimes. Not in the remote payload case. In the remote payload case, they have to be download URLs.
So I'm not really agreeing with what you're saying. So, like, when you harvest, that's when you pick which files must be included into the bundle. So you should decide at harvesting time whether you want to include all the files, like nothing, or just the ones that are external.
Yep.
Okay, I'm
Yes.
stuck on harvesting though. For an MSI package, we harvest at bind time. We harvest
Yep.
the media and the file table, or we look at the media and file table to know what we have to harvest.
Yes.
Is that not the same thing you're talking about here?
Well, we do that today, but bundle package also supports a remote bundle package where you do the harvesting before you bind. So you harvested before compiling,
Right.
and then you have source code that has the details of what was harvested, and that gets compiled, and then later binding will do its thing. So
Sorry, we're
people
overloading the word. We're overloading the word harvesting.
Yeah. So
Right.
harvest.
You're talking about Sean. You're talking about heat level harvesting.
I'm
I
not
know
trying
it's
to
not.
overload it because
People
are asking for
overloaded.
people are asking for
I'm
MSI
saying-
package to work the same
Yep.
as the bundle package
Well-
does today.
Yep.
Well,
So,
okay.
all right.
But
So
that's weird.
let's wait. All right. Let's back up because there's a lot of history on the word harvest. Let's call because there was a word I was trying to use for a while that I don't think got in there far enough. There's this. I was trying to use the word gather for a while. The underlying process behind the user concept of harvest. There is this thing called gathering, right? Which was you have this thing, gather all the parts up. Here's an MSI package, gather all the parts up. Here now
Yeah.
is a bundle package, gather all the parts up. All right. The gatherer concept is definitely a building block that gets used both for binding and it get used in the historical harvesting remote payload scenario. So if you consider harvesting the top level thing, which is I think is where Bob's coming from because he's been through all that, and the binding process, both of those end up using the gatherer underneath. I was to
although if we're
introduce a
gonna
new
call it-
word.
If we're going to call it gathering, then the other side of it has to be hunting, obviously. So harvesting is right now.
Anyway, I'm not worried about the word. All right, we could pick whatever word we want. The word harvest has been overused and has lots of different ways that it's come into.
That's what I was saying.
Yeah, is that so? That I think that was the root of that confusion. So whatever you want to call the widget at the bottom that does what Sean was describing as harvesting, because I've seen him rename all these things harvesting, and then reuse that functionality both for the remote payload feature and inside binding.
Yeah, we're basically decomposing the bundle or the MSI.
Yeah, we're describing the shape of it to feed into a later process. One of those processes is the remote payload process, where it spits it out as text files that could be digested by the compiler. And the other option is we feed it straight into the binder so that the files end up inside the files and their metadata. The appropriate set of files and the appropriate set of metadata ends up in the final bundle. So that widget at the bottom definitely needs to know which set of files we're talking about. Oh, that was weird. My mic just fit back to me. Right?
Right?
Yeah.
So I'm still not understanding why you would, at that point in time, we would be picking and choosing what to put in the bundle based on what's actually on the file system. That doesn't make sense to me.
It's an option. I mean, we
that
don't have to.
Okay, that could be another option.
Yes, it could be. It absolutely could.
What's available.
It absolutely could. That's what I was saying. The idea that you could say ignore all files that have download URLs is interesting. Then there's the ignore download URLs, ignore files that have download URLs and are missing, right? And I put the two together, but you don't have to. You're absolutely correct. You don't have to put them together. They're all these, they are interesting dials. And the only reason I think of the missing files is because we had scenarios in Visual Studio where we would build web-based downloads simply by copying the appropriate set of files to a new folder. They'd be missing all of the necessary content that the DVD folder would have, and the whole system worked from there. And that's why that whole concept of missing files, that's where that comes from, or where we've used it in the past. But I agree. It could just be ignore files that have download URLs versus ignore. And I don't even know if ignore missing files is interesting or not. It could just be ignore download
It
URLs.
is interesting because you might be using a prepackaged package group that specifies the download URLs, but you want to build an offline installer.
Right. Yes. That.
So
which is
for me,
is exactly that case.
The gathering phase at bind time is important because you do want to be able to somehow indicate that, just because this could be downloaded does not mean that I want it to be downloaded.
This sounds like a new concept for a payload to be optional at binding.
Well, it's not. There are none today. None of the payloads are optional. If they're gathered today, they're not optional. They're only the remote ones were optional. Like you had to be remote to be optional. So the concept of being optional at all during binding is actually new. Out of gathering, the concept of being optional out of gathering is new. Straight out of gathering, as opposed to out of remote payload.
But people would have loved to have that for the .NET framework.
Would have loved to have that for the .NET framework.
Like if they just put the file in this correct spot during binding, that it would be compressed into the bundle.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
We have that problem
Yes.
because we specify remote payloads for all of the redisks,
Yeah.
all the .NET Framework redisks, which is silly that we have a remote payload, say for what was the combination? Is that you have a remote payload for the web downloader that's available for .NET. Why, you package up the web downloader that then downloads more stuff, completely blows off your caching progress calculations. But
Yeah.
but it means that if you want to embed it, you have to author your own, and that kind of sucks.
So I think the answer here is that we need, at the high level, we definitely need to pull external payloads in for bundles. And then for the ones that have download URLs, they could be optional. And how many degrees of freedom do we provide on those that could be optional? Right?
Yep. So is it like harvest type is the attribute name, or?
Yeah, I'm hesitant to use the word harvest because of all the history that it comes with it.
Because I kind of wanted to be declarative, where you're saying like everything, nothing, something like that.
Yeah, I
It's definitely
agree.
an enum, yeah.
Yeah, I just don't think we need the word harvest in it to say that. It's essentially, it's like, what's the external file handling scenario that you want to use? Do you want to, and the default is to include them all, because that's the most obvious. Then after that,
Yeah, I like external file handling or something along those lines.
external files include, ignore if download URL. I'm not coming up with words right now. And then the missing one is the only other one that's like interesting because of the things that we've done in the past, or that people want to just like, yeah, this, if it's here, use it. If you don't, and that one's always, I was worried a little bit about basing things on found in the file system. But yeah,
Something like automatic payload inclusion.
yeah. We have the words are around here somewhere. I would hesitate of putting the word harvest in it due to its overloaded history. Jacob, but what if someone tries to create an offline bundle that contains multiple online bundles? Offline bundle that contains multiple bundles. Yeah, so that's the same problem that you have with the. That's the scenario Bob just brought up. I think maybe you're referring to that. If you want to do an offline bundle and you are carrying the web redist, what do they call it? NetFX webnet. What do they call it?
Yeah, it's NetFX 48-web.exe.
If you get that, then you can't get a purely offline scenario, as far as I know, because you are carrying something that's online, and so that's just fundamentally broken. Is it really the gathering processing side, or should we expect them to do a layout if they want to package an online bundle as a child of another bundle? To package an online bundle as a child of another bundle.
Well, they'd have to. If you're trying to essentially recreate an offline, you are at that point. If you want to create an offline bundle of something that is purely online, like a web-only redist, then yeah, you're going to have to do that.
Yeah, / layout to bring everything local, and then. Yeah. But even then, will / layout? I guess / layout will even fetch download URLs.
Yeah,
And
well, that's
will
really
put it in the
the
right place.
point.
Yeah. So yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
We don't want building a bundle to start downloading stuff from the web. It's bad enough that we have NuGet packages.
And to be clear, the word gathering is an internal piece of the WiX toolset. It's not a user-facing thing. You as a user, you don't use the gathering, which is why I was trying to avoid using the word harvesting, because we have made that a user-facing concept. But the gathering widget, to use that name, is an internal piece of the WiX toolset that is shared in a couple places. One, in the remote payload, which is the harvesting of old for remote payloads, and then also inside the binder for grabbing MSIs and including all that stuff into your bundle itself. So this gathering process has nothing to do with the actual execution of a bundle. It's all about the creation of them, to be clear. All right, so I don't have a name for the dial, but I think we do need this feature, because bundle packages are not going to work unless they are single files right now, essentially. Right? Yeah. They're pretty much have to be single files. Or they're all downloaded. Author. Yeah. Or you can manually author the payloads yourself. That's not much fun. Yeah. Okay.
Well, but it works fine. Well, never mind. It's not horrible. This is the where we get into the harvesting dilemma of normal MSI harvesting.
Yes.
You might have to do it if you have special scenarios, like wanting to create an offline bundle for something that includes online-only children. I like the idea of an attribute like external files.
I don't like external.
What are they called?
I mean, they're payloads.
Yeah, I mean, we could call them payloads.
But they're. What if you want to include everything, even compressed stuff?
Even compressed stuff. If it's in the bundle exe, you get the bundle exe no matter what, right?
Yeah, but you could strip the attached container off.
How?
Burn extract or burn whatever it was to sign it.
Don't do that?
Yeah, I never considered someone shipping that.
You
detach
how would it do, though? I mean, if you have something that's attached, they've stripped off the attached container, how would you get the files?
Extract? Layout?
Huh? But layout won't attach the attached container again. I mean, I'd be amazed if Burn did anything where it let you run where it thought the attached container,
It's what happens when you.
But I guess if you do a /layout from the cache, it works. Oh gosh, that's so wild. I guess that works. You could do a /layout from the cache, the package cache, and point it to the original source.
You do all the operations from the cache when it's stripped.
Even layout.
Yeah.
Layout's the one that's the weirdest to me. So if you did /layout, it would prompt for source for the attached container, and then create it.
Well,
create a bundle with it attached.
No, layout would only give you a bundle without the attached container.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay.
That
was amazing. I didn't know it could do that.
It would prompt for the container, and I don't know that you could actually provide a source for the attached container that isn't a bundle.
Yeah, you have to get the original bundle.
You have to get the original bundle.
Yeah. Okay.
But in 4, you can put download URLs on everything. So if it can't find the container, then it would try to download it if it had a download URL for all the payloads.
Can you actually put a download URL on an attached container?
On the content in the attached container.
On the content, yes. But I don't think you can do that for an attached container.
I might have enabled that. I'm not 100% sure.
Okay.
And if it is,
That would
it's
be
the path to the original bundle. Like, essentially. Because, I mean, the attached container doesn't live anywhere. It only lives attached to the exe. That's why it's called attached. That's wow. I've never thought about detaching the engine off of an attached bundle and expecting things to work everywhere. That's crazy.
Yeah, but that's what you put in the package cache, so it kind of has to work.
Oh, I mean, install and uninstall for itself, yes. It definitely will do that. It's the layout scenarios, and it's just like, really? Okay. Because I thought layout copied itself. I didn't think it would fix the attached container.
It won't fix it, but it could download the original bundle. If that had a download URL, it'd be automatic.
Right.
It'll just copy itself. It won't try to resolve the attached containers.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
I haven't thought through all the things you can do with that yet.
So what's the adjective if it's not external?
Well, I went harvest, but you guys don't, so.
I actually don't care.
I don't want harvest.
I don't want gather.
That's what it's doing.
I'm working on what that word means throughout WiX. So I don't want that word in the language itself.
Well, then I guess we need to rename the symbol that I created then. Because I called it harvested bundle package payload.
Yes, I saw that, and I was like, it's the internal symbol.
I mean, that's what it is. So I don't expect
the word
to
can be
come up with a
generated
better
too,
name.
or calculated, or otherwise. It doesn't have to be the word harvested. The word gathered could work too. I'm not big on the word gathered either, but
I don't want that. I don't want the concept exposed in an attribute name, because then we have to explain the concept. External, I think, works because the 90% case is that these are things that are explicitly, fine, they're not explicitly marked. Uncompressed file handling? Compressed or uncompressed is the closest we have today to a word that is already exposed in the language, because we have bundle compressed.
I don't hate it. The only problem is that containers are compressed, and they are external.
See, the problem is we don't expose the concept of attached containers.
No, I don't think we.
It's exposed. You can create attached containers.
No, I know, but we don't. Sorry, it's not exposed in the language. Right now, an attached container happens when you say bundle compressed equals yes.
No, you can create a container with attached equals yes.
Oh, okay.
I don't remember when that came. That's because that's the thing that allows multiple attached containers, right?
I mean, it was there in 3, but you could only have one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was.
But you couldn't author
to
it.
Create detached containers.
You could author it in 3, and you would have your own special name for the container instead of the default. It wasn't useful.
Yeah.
But it was in the language.
Isn't it? But I thought attached equals no was how you created detached containers.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay. So it was mildly useful. Yes wasn't very useful.
No, I meant attached equals yes was not useful in 3.
Well, but what if you really wanted to name your attached container?
That doesn't mean anything.
So what do you call the process where it's inspecting the bundle and the manifest, and it's getting all the information it needs to build the bundle?
The process that I was starting to call that gathering.
That's not.
To avoid the word harvesting.
But you
because of the
said
baggage that comes with
gathering was
harvesting.
used in another place in the binder, which sounds a much better use of gathering than that.
Sorry, I wait. Say that. All right, ask your question again.
I thought gathering in the binder was where it was trying to resolve all the files and trying to
No,
get
that's
everything together.
no, that's resolving. I think that's all done during resolve.
Well, what is the second place of this gathering process? Because you referred to it as being
For MSI
twice.
packages was the one where we first started doing this concept of gathering, where it was this internal gathering of information and generating code. It's like link time code generation is essentially what it was. And we didn't do a lot of that. We definitely didn't do very much of it in MSI because there's so many implications on when you generate code, you have to think about the patching implications, which ends up making things way more complicated. But in bundles, slowly got to a place where like, you know what, we can actually generate significant amounts of this because we control the engine. The engine has these needs. So that is when we were like, oh, look, you don't have to author all of the parts about an MSI, which is really annoying. How about we just look at the MSI? It tells us every single file that it could use, Delta, custom actions, reaching out and grabbing arbitrary files. We will know all of them. And so it was like, great. So we just wrote the things that, good, you can gather all the information on MSI and put it into the bundle and it will just work. And so that was that. And it was never exposed. It just, the internal process did it.
I guess my problem with calling it gathering is that most of the work is inspecting the bundle and figuring out what to gather. But I don't know.
You could call it hunting and gathering, and then, Bob will be happy. But yeah, it's a word, right? We could call it, we could call it link time code generation if we wanted, which is essentially what is happening. It's like, hey, we're going to generate a lot of code here at this time. And we're starting to do more of that in MSI as we get more comfortable with being able to generate stable identifiers for constructs. So this concept of being able to generate more in the back ends is going to become more prevalent, I hope, in order to simplify the front end of the language. That's what I'm hoping we keep working towards, right? And the word harvesting, the reason I just avoid word harvesting through all of this is that it has a history of what it means and how it comes in. And I am trying to work through actively how to address that word, given that it is a public word and it's exposed like in the WiX Proj, for example. Still trying to work my way through what all that means. So that's why I don't use that word for that concept inside the tools, even though, the gathering, the widget, whatever you want to call that parse, is a key part of code generation, which the thing that is harvesting has used significantly. Code generation is a very large part of what harvesting has been. And even then, code generation is a great term because it's a difference between generating source code versus generating internal symbols or just final output in the case of like the manifest of the bundle and things like that. So all of that is why I don't like the word harvesting being used for any of these pieces. Given its history, it's kind of we burn that word. It's like we can't use the word component for anything anymore.
Or we can use it for pretty much everything.
Or we just use it for everything. Then it doesn't mean anything, which is only going to be worse. And you can see it in the beginning of this conversation where Bob's like, wait, harvesting is these things. You're like, no, harvesting is these things. And that word has a place. That's why I'm avoiding it. So we just have to detach from that word, find what a better word is. And, maybe link time code generation is a better way to come at it. Code generation as opposed to source code generation. I don't know. This is when I sometimes drop into, reaping or integrating. This is when I try to drop into like, what are the other languages? Like, where's Rosin? Because Rosin has a lot of these same things, and they have the word emit in their world, and I'm fuzzy on where LLVM has these. But it's just kind of like, what are these compiler concepts that we're doing and trying to solve these backend problems? So
do you want to call it payload generation?
Absolute payload generation, I think, is totally
There we go.
fine. Totally fine.
It's nice and generic. It doesn't promise anything.
Generator is a word that can be used for many different things, and you need an adjective to say what it's generating immediately. You're like, there's the generator. You're like, yeah, okay, what is it generating? Yeah, payload generation, payload generator, payload. I think generator's the noun verb of that, right?
What? The noun verb?
The
Are you
noun,
creating language things?
the noun word.
Oh,
Sorry, I do
That's
think I said
different.
verb, which is why I stopped and went, wait, what did I do? I segfaulted right there. Yeah, it's a
generator
word.
is a noun, yes.
Is the noun for generating, right? Right, which gets us away from the whole hunter-gathering, harvesting, agrarian, and not concepts.
I don't know. I now want to fit agrarianism into this somehow.
No, no, I'm trying to get away from that. So yeah, maybe payload generation is the way to go.
Yeah, I like
And
it.
I very much prefer the word generated over harvested. I think that definitely says what it is. It was generated as opposed to input.
Yeah. Which is the difference between harvesting it for MSI content and harvesting and generating the payloads by inspecting an MSI's media table.
Right. Right. Much more comfortable with those names. Yeah, see.
Payload generation.
So I think that's it. Now, that still doesn't solve our attribute name of external files or generate payloads. It could be generate payloads.
I wanted payload generation.
Yeah.
Oh, payload
Sorry,
generation as the. Oh, I was thinking of that as the name. Payload generation. Yeah, actually, default. Skip download your. Yeah, ignore download URLs. Yeah. Yeah.
I think,
It's just
I think ignoring download URL, what you were talking about, ignoring missing files is a separate feature request.
But it fits in. It fits into the email.
because you choose to make it a separate feature request. But yeah, sure. It could definitely be a piece of this, but that's fine. I think ignoring download URLs certainly is a good dial to have, and we can ignore the one for missing files. It certainly
No.
can be an add.
So this comes to my main problem that I was trying to express, that generating the payloads is done at one point in time, and binding is done at a separate point in time. So this attribute is determining which payloads are generated, and then the separate feature request is the bind time feature of ignoring payloads, of dropping payloads from the bundle if they're not existing on the file system.
When is it done? I mean, it has to be at. It's post resolution, pre bind, pre backend. No, it's in the backend.
Yeah, it's in the backend.
Sorry, in WiX 3 there was a big distinction between compiling, linking, and binding. And binding was the first point at which you had to have payloads on the system. In compiling and linking, it was just recorded. Your source information, payload source information, was recorded but never acted on. So you could do a whole bunch of things if you were really, into that. And too many places were, you could do compiling and linking and do binding as a separate process.
You can even do
binding,
you can even do parts of resolve. We supported doing parts of resolve without the files too.
Right.
So this generation that we're talking about is part of binding for bundles so far.
Yeah, it's basically Burn has two stages in the binding, where it does the gathering and then it does the binding.
Okay.
Yeah. That's not going to. Yeah. The overall process is bind. You're talking about there's a part where it scans the disk and does all that kind of stuff, and then there's another part that actually expects the files so they can be compressed, right, Sean?
Yeah.
Yeah, that overarching process is called bind today, and the there isn't a breakdown of the internal workings of that today. So I don't think we could say gathering is separate from binding. No, payload generation, whatever. The thing that does the work, the payload generator, is a piece of binding, and then later on the files can be compressed. That first part definitely chooses the set of things that will get compressed. That's fine, and that'll flow through the system. That's true, but that overarching process is bind.
And both touch the file system, even if it's
bind.
Payload
bind,
generation could be read only.
It could be.
Or,
well, it
sorry.
can't be, because you're right. Yes, it can be. Yeah,
No,
touches the file system, but can be read only. Yes.
Sorry, by read only I meant inspect only. It doesn't look at the content of the files, just that they're there.
No, I think it has to open the
No, it
bundle.
does.
And the
No, you're right. You're right. No, never mind. Okay.
It's very analogous to the MSI.
Yeah. Well, bind is a big thing. I mean,
Yes.
that's the extent of the back end today, right?
Yes.
Back end?
Yes.
You bind. That
Yes.
can include a whole lot of stuff.
Yes, exactly. Yep. I used to have this concept of the front of the back end and the back of the back end, which used to drive Bob crazy, just trying to figure out.
It's just amusing.
Yeah, it's a very interesting idea, but I think we've gotten away from all that we don't need that. It complicates things a lot.
Well, bind as a concept, as a generic concept, has to be broad because of all the possible things that any potential backend could do.
Yeah,
we know how MSIs run, how MSIs bind. We know how bundles bind. Does that look different for an MSIX package or?
Well, we know it does, but yeah. Anyway.
Well, yes, we do know it does.
Anyway,
but the concept is still there.
Yes. So bind is the overarching back end part, and it has most of the way we've written the binders today is they tend to do most of their read operations first and then their write operations last. They tend to be organized that way. Which makes sense why you're talking about a payload generation earlier and that later in the bind process handles actually getting all the files. That makes sense to me. All right. Payload generation as the attribute is interesting. And the default is to get all the payloads, right? The default is to get all the external files. Right? That's default?
Yep.
And then there's ignore if download URL or whatever I want to say. There.
I have a suggestion in the ticket.
Oh. Look at Bob getting ahead of us. Except I have to refresh.
I haven't submitted it yet.
Oh, well, that's not helpful. All right.
Well, I don't want to actually discuss it. It's just a joke, and now you've ruined it.
Best present this year was a broken drum. You can't beat that. All right, moving on. Did I ruin that too?
Yep.
6753. We're talking to the Visual Studio team about this one. That's the update on 6753. Can't open solution contains WiX project Visual Studio 2022 preview. We're talking to the Visual Studio team right now about that. Fire Giant. Visual Studio team has reached out and we're working with them. We're going to figure out what we're going to do here. So, I don't want this issue. Let's just save it for 2 weeks. We'll see where if we have to fix it or if Visual Studio has to fix it. Or
they haven't fixed it yet.
No.
It's kind of annoying, but they are looking at it. So.
No, we think they found it. So now the question is, what's the way out? All right, we're at 10:42. Are we going to 11 to try to get these last three? Can we do that? Or is that just folly and we should just give up now?
We should do those three or do the one you skipped.
I skipped one. Oh, I hit refresh. Bundle package should be the fallback to the package cache. All right, let's talk about this. 6756. Bundle package should be able to fall back to the package cache. For XE packages, burn always needs to cache the XE before it can run it. Yep. For bundle package, burn is doing the same thing, but theoretically it can fall back to the bundle's own cache in the package cache.
So this is if the child bundle is already installed.
Yeah, I like Sean, if you're willing to do this, I like it. Especially this last part here. It should at
Yeah.
least support uninstalling the bundle package using exe from the package cache if source isn't available, just like MSI packs could be uninstalled without source.
Although they can't be uninstalled without source and burn.
Yeah, they can. We just uninstall them by the product code, right?
Yep.
But at least in 3, we cache. The
Yeah, but
cache can't be empty.
Yeah, you could delete the MSI from the cache and burn will be like, all right, I can uninstall that.
Yep.
I don't think it was that way in 3. But I agree, it shouldn't.
I think this is a fantastic feature. Not enough that I'm going to take it on myself, but I think it would be really cool. So, Sean, if you're willing to do it, I think it's great.
I need to wrap my head around exactly what this means.
Yeah. Yep. I agree with that statement right there. I think it'd be cool.
Do you want this in 4.0, Sean, or 4X?
So, I guess what I was looking for is, should we support operations other than uninstall?
Yes.
This is a dial. I mean,
No, just yes.
we can dial it down to no, you must cache it, to we can support uninstall, all the way up to, yeah, we'll just use it if it's there.
What do we do in the case of MSI?
We have to cache it unless it's uninstalling.
But that's because we always cache during. I mean, let me ask that differently. Is there a way to not cache during repair or reinstall, install?
No,
We
you
just
can
don't-
throw away the cache, but
Is it possible? Yes. Is it easy to do? I doubt it.
No, like can a BA actually ask the burn? Sorry. Can a BA ask the burn engine to do that?
No.
Right. Okay, that's what I thought. So I think the answer I think this should be the same then. Until we choose to let burn skip caching something because it can find it. Yeah. What were we saying? So, yeah, it says during repair that we're not going to put things back in the cache. Yeah, no. Makes total sense. I think it should be the same for MSI package. If bundle package can act the same as MSI package in this case, I think that's awesome. On install and all that, we're just going to cache because it's not a bundle package thing that we're caching. It's just that's what we do, right? If you're going forward, we cache the packages. If you're going back, if you're installing, repairing, going forward, then we put things in the cache. And if you're going backwards, we don't try to put things back in the cache if we can avoid it. That's kind of the idea.
Yeah, this should be doable.
And it'd be awesome if we could do the same for exe packages, except we'd have to have them tell us a way to detect their uninstall string, for example, which would be the feature for exe packages, I guess. This exe package can be uninstalled with this uninstall string. Can be detected here with the uninstall string, so you don't need it for uninstalling.
except we always run the exe with that uninstall string.
It would
Right.
have to be an uninstall location.
Yeah, it would have to be
Okay.
when I register an ARP under this key. Go ahead and uninstall me there.
Gotcha.
Like
This
that would
is
be the
the-
way of making the concept generic for both exes and bundles, because bundles will say the
Right.
same thing.
That's
I
true.
register here, and then just read my uninstall string, and let's go. Same for the exe package. If you can't find me, go ahead and do my uninstall from here. I'm not saying we should do that feature. I'm just saying that's kind of the generic. It would be cool if we did that for all things, because then we'd be able to always uninstall without having to cache. Because caching during uninstall is really annoying.
Yeah.
Please provide the original source media so we can remove this. Nobody likes that. Nobody
Well,
likes that.
it's Inno setup and probably Ansys as well. They write separate uninstallers, and today we don't do well with that.
And actually, that's another case where this would be all right. Should open that feature request. The ability for exe package to specify their uninstall key, their ARP uninstall key. So Sean, if you choose to do that, it would be awesome if you maybe kept that in the back of your mind. It's like, hey, yeah, and if I do this, then it's just launch this exe, launch this uninstall string, essentially. I don't know, something to think about.
I mean, I could implement it like that for bundles too, maybe. We'll see.
Yeah, the hard part for exes is, well, no, because most of the exe packages have a fixed. They all have a fixed. Oh, they all have a fixed uninstall key. Key. ARP key. Right, and then the uninstall string is underneath that. Well, yeah, maybe that's a thing. There's something there, I think.
Yeah, we'll see how that works.
That would be allow us to uninstall nsys and inno setup as well as bundles. That would be pretty cool. That would be pretty cool, actually.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see where we end up here. It's 2393. As you can tell, we've jumped from the 6000s to the 2000s, so we've done back in time. Light exe makes no difference between a comma and a semicolon. All provided cultures are specifying the fallback sequence for light, independent of the use of separation character. Only votive makes such a difference. All right, so this is a documentation thing? No. But you removed documentation. Who knows how far back? This is all about fallback languages, and I think the representation inside WiX projects.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what the differences were supposed to be, and it was primarily, as I recall, it was to allow multiple regions within the same language.
No, I think
so you could have ENUS, comma ENGB,
right.
or vice versa. It was like
Yes.
Your ultimate fallback, but within a language, or an ultimate regional fallback within a language. So you could do ENGB, comma ENUS, which would let you create, MSIs with extra U's in them, and then if you didn't quote unquote translate to add those extra U's, you would fall back to U.S. English.
Yeah, so
I don't know that it matters at all, really.
No, it does.
It becomes an order.
No, in WiX Proj, the semicolon ends up splitting, so you build multiple MSIs. So you build with the semicolon allows you to build, for example, ENUS, comma ENGB, semicolon. I need a language that I don't know. The Spanish. FR. I don't know what the other FRFR Arabic fallback to FRFR French, right? Or whatever, right? So the comma separates the fallbacks. The semicolon separates the request to have language built, and it's only an MS build. It's not votive. It's only an MS build feature. It's not a command line feature, because on the command line, you run the command line multiple times. That's how that works.
Yep.
There's no way of doing multiple outputs, and in the end, it's batching, target batching. So I guess this is the feature request must be a doc thing.
Well, apparently I didn't think so back in December 2013.
Yeah, Light should understand that. No, I don't think Light should understand build. Light, Wix.exe build, the build command. We're still not building multiple outputs from one command line invocation. We can revisit that another time.
Light takes a culture switch.
Yes, but those are the fallback cultures.
But those are fallback cultures within one output.
All right. Those are like Blair disagrees. That's good. All right. So, give this to me. I want to make sure that the MS Build stuff does work, because I have it working. This is a doc issue. Somewhere in our doc, we must have this written down, and it's confusing. And we need to basically say this comma, semicolon is only a MS Build feature, a WiX Proj feature. It's not a
Okay.
Voda feature. It's a MS Build feature. Through MS Build, you can get your WiX Proj to build multiple languages. That's essentially the answer.
Okay. I'll take that. It's probably somewhere in the yeah, we have documentation on WiX Proj.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Targets features.
Right.
So.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Allow manage servers and class element to register this. You set mproc server to MS Core EE, and I can't see how to do this. Oh, that is not installed by your setup. Yeah, this is a great feature. Registering class managed classes and enhancing the class element to do that better. We can put it into 4x. I think it's just additive. I think it can be done additively. But yeah, it'd be great if someone wanted to do that feature. I don't know how many managed comm servers there are anymore, but
Well, in the 15 years since the bug was open, people have been clearly chomping at the bit to
get this done. Yeah.
Yeah.
Also mentioned that Light can't make multiple languages in one invocation. That is correct. Boy, you cannot make multiple invocations. All right, 702, last one. This is an ancient bug because Derek opened it. There are some limits in Windows installers that we could validate to prevent. Hey, Zach, that's great. It's actually, Zach, thank you for saying that. I'm like, it's the world of tech, maybe just Twitter. I don't know. People don't talk about the fact that they're actively still making technology using old functionality, existing functionality. So it's nice to know that people are still using it because it tells us, people still use this. We still need to make it work. So anyway, thanks, Zach. That does help us know that, we shouldn't get rid of it. It still has value. Those kinds of things. All right.
But we can still mock like MSMQ, right? That's still okay.
DCOM? No, I forget.
See,
one of those is bad. I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know actually know where MSMQ is. I mean, MSMQ wasn't bad. DCOM was pretty brutal.
no, but it falls.
No.
into
It wasn't so
into
much
the really,
DCOM.
really
It was
old bucket.
DTC. MSDTC.
Yeah, true.
That thing was. Anyway, who cares?
Probably someone.
Please add more here if you know them. And I think we've gotten no additional ones added. But there are these two checks. You know what? Give this to me, and I will. I'm going to be. I think I have another bug very similar to this, and it should be straightforward to add it. And I'll just pick up these two things. It is a good thing to add just to head off the problems.
Well, these are, are these things not covered by ICEs, for example, and would be, better served than an icebreaker type project?
Maybe.
I mean, so ICEs catches this kind of stuff as well as the,
but
for
this
Windows
is-
9X, you don't want more than 800 components per feature or whatever.
But this is a build failure. Like your MSI is not going to work. Like we should not be building the MSI at all. It's not a static analysis thing. It's your MSI is broken. If you get over these things,
Okay. Yeah,
it doesn't
that's
open. Like I don't even know if you could validate an MSI that has a feature tree depth of 17.
Can you build it?
You
how
probably
many
could
of these
build
things
it.
fail?
Yeah, you can build it because
at
it's just
build time?
IDTs. We're just shoving them in there. But
Well-
because validation is doing an install, MSI validation is doing an install. They may fail when it's like, oh, I can't handle this, and it blows up because the engine doesn't like this.
Right.
Anyway, this is straightforward. I'll drop it in and do that. All right. We got through it. Triage. Good stuff. I knew we'd have triage today. Oh, no, we know. Other things people want to talk about. While you guys think about things that you want to talk about, we'll see how many bugs we get in the next 2 weeks. I guess we've open 27 days, 26, 28 days. So we made it through. If we would have been through all of our bugs last week, we would not have had any this week. So I guess we'll see in 2 weeks if we'll still have bugs. We'll do that. But we'll definitely be back. So 2 weeks is May 12th. Is that correct? I think that's right. Got to jump a boundary here. So that would be May 12th.
Someone should check Rob's math.
Oh, dude.
Date math.
Yeah, don't. Please do. We all know our weaknesses, and that is definitely one of mine. All right. So pretty quiet. WiX 3 build for VS extension for VS 2022 properties. Yeah, the WiX 3 build. Bob, I was waiting on something from you, I thought, for the WiX 3 build.
Okay.
I thought there was a doc
You have to tell me
thing.
about these things.
No. There was a dock thing or something that was getting fixed that was going to get pushed all the way around so we didn't have to do other stuff.
Your words are not evoking any memories for me.
All right. I have to start writing everything down. My memory doesn't hold anything anymore. Yeah, I guess I'll have to go through, do the work, I think I fixed the bug with the ARM build stuff. So hopefully everything will work. If not, I'll have to do that. All right. Yeah, I guess we'll go kick a build here. I'm going to take a quick look and see if I can trigger what that doc thing was that we were talking about. What was that? That's not coming to me. All right. Yeah, all right. We'll kick a WiX 3 build before the next meeting. We'll do that. Before the next meeting, there'll be another WiX 3 build. And it may or may not include the doc fix that I can't. I swear there was something that was like, yeah, it'd be nice if this was just fixed. Anyway, there's that. Because I'm feeling petty in the support market, a rim shot is produced by simultaneously hitting the rim and the head of the drum of the stick. There we go. But my message is too long for chat. Chat has a limit on how much you can.
200 characters.
200 characters. Oh, I see it now. Down there. So does that mean we need to drop it into somewhere else? Or
WiX
a
devs?
Summary? WiX devs, yeah.
We always have mail.
All right, tell you what. If it's not pressing, Ron, now I have to wait 10 seconds. If it's not pressing, then we'll let's see if we can get it queued up enough that we can have an answer or a discussion about it in the next meeting. Because I'm really hoping in the next meeting we don't have more than an issue or two or none to talk about. So we'll have the other things to go talk about if it's not pressing. And you can just drop it on WiX devs or whatever, and we can work it around to getting it discussed. Cool. I hope. All right. Anything else? Killing time here. This is where I really wish I had the immediate. When they say immediate communication with your feedback, I wonder what it's like if I run at reduced communication speed. Like, is there a 20-second delay? 30-second delay? Who knows? It is fantastic to have all of you in chat with us here today. Zach, Ron, Blair. We missed Jacob this week, didn't we? All right. All of you, it's great to have you here. Jacob's here.
Here.
Yeah, Jacob's here. See, he even said things, and I even responded to those things. All right. I tell you what, man, trying to talk and think at the same time is like, think about one thing, talk about another thing. It's challenging. I'm just trying to figure out. All right. I think I fill enough space. Ron, go. Let's get your question at least started in mail or something, and then we'll go from there. We'll be back in 2 weeks, 9:30, May 12th, Pacific time, and we'll do this all again. So until then, all you guys take it easy, and we'll be back then. Bye.
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 Yay. Boom. I love it. This is great. I love Zach and Blair and Jacob and Ron, everybody like in the chat. It's like, yeah, this is great. Interaction. I love it. It's awesome. Awesome.
An occasional, comment that isn't something from the three of us.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, Jacob, thank you, show, man. It's great having you. Yeah, exactly. Something that isn't just us all the time. All right. Well, that's all I got. I am going to go off and get to my next meeting, which is in 20 minutes. That gives me time to take a breath, drink some water, and prepare for that. So you guys have a good one.